When I stuttered, I identified myself as somebody would say, "What's your name?" I'm the stuttering guy.
I would like to put myself and you into the shoes of a person who stutters.
Then it comes to, do I really have to say it? Or is it better not to? Then the last step is to avoid the situation altogether. So I won't go away for Shabbos because it's just going to be a lot of people around. I just won't go. And this really takes over a whole person's life.
Teaching the children about bullying.
Calling them middle of class. What's worse than not knowing the answer? Knowing the answer and you can't say it.
Now, what does it do to the child's self-esteem? Like, it's not a curse. You're embracing it.
Embracing it, right. So that never spoke to me. I'll tell you why.
This episode is sponsored by Candid Recruits. Candid Recruits serves the tri-state area. Are you a business owner? Are you an employee? Are you looking to hire or are you looking to find a better job? Call Candid Recruits. They are connecting the right people with the right jobs. They have over 300 successful hires already. They are vetting every employee to the highest level, from white collar to blue collar to everything in between. And the best part of Candid Recruits is they charge a flat fee versus the other agencies who charge 25% of the salary. So do yourself a favor and reach out to Candid Recruits at 845-828-9210. Call now. Okay. We are welcoming today an inspiring guest on the podcast. His name is Rabbi Yanky Kaufman. Rabbi Yanky Kaufman had his own journey, had his own personal journey with stuttering. He transformed it into a solution, believe it or not. Took his own journey and changed it. Not just for himself, but for hundreds of people around the world. He's the founder of an organization called Smooth Speech Solutions.
You got it right.
Okay. Rabbi Yanky, welcome to the Struggle Podcast.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. This is where I want to start. What was the aha moment? Do you remember the aha moment that said, today was the day that this is done?
By me, it was very obvious because the contrast was so clear, so fast. And basically, the story goes, right, going back, I hope people understand that I used to stutter.
Yeah.
That heavy, even though the way I'm speaking now, Baruch Hashem, not really part of my life. But it was a very, very big struggle.
Right.
I'm not just saying that because that's what the podcast is called, but I was just saying how the struggle, live and learn. It was living the struggle. That's what it was.
Right.
So one day, I got a phone call from someone, and they said, can you help this person? He's really in a very difficult situation. He's stuttering. I said, oh, I understand.
You were already a specialist then?
No, I was still stuttering.
Wow.
I was married. Hashem, happily married, living the koil life in Eretz Yisrael.
Wow.
So he said, Yanky, maybe you can help them. I said, help with stuttering? I can teach him how to stutter. I can't teach him how to not stutter.
Right.
So I said, no, Yanky, he's on yeshiva. You can't get chavusas. He already went for a lot of therapy. He's burnt out. His parents have money. They spent anywhere, whatever they heard of. I was like, that sounds familiar. I also went all over the place. I mean, so we're in the same boat. Okay. Yeah, but, he's not married. He's not in yeshiva. Maybe you can help him. I said, he said he needs chizuk. I said, oh, chizuk? I'm very good at chizuk. I'm very good at getting chizuk, not giving chizuk with a stutter. I'm still struggling myself. Then he told me one last thing, gave it one last try, and that changed everything. He said, I can maybe just be his friend. Okay, can't turn that down. Could be any Yid's friend. I said, okay, let's meet. I didn't know I was going to be telling him, but I can't turn that offer. So I davened Hashem the night before, like, Hashem, please, this guy's in a very desperate situation, keeping it light, very desperate situation. And he's relying on me that I'm going to be able to help him with something, and I don't know what to tell him. So I'm not turning it down, but, Pashat does not make this awkward. I started to take out a piece of paper and just started writing. Hashem put something in my mind.
Yeah.
started writing, and I said, okay, let's experiment something for the next day. We met, chizuk, nice, whatever things that, the little chizuk things that were helpful, and then we started to experiment. I say, hey, wow, this is working, but didn't get too excited. Listen, I've been in therapy for 15 years. And then he wanted to meet again. I guess that was my first successful session.
Wow.
And I said, really? Like, what does he want to meet? I mean, what I do? Now, maybe he wanted to meet again because, he finally met somebody who really understands him.
Right.
Which was true. We met again, and we practiced like wine. It was just like for fun. And then he wanted me the third day. I was like, okay, I guess whatever I did the first 2 days, we're just going to keep doing it for the third day.
Yeah.
And then after the third day, when I came home, I realized like, hey, well, my speech is different. Again, I didn't identify too much with what I was experimenting and what's happening. It was just like happening slowly but fast. Like I just did the therapy and things are changing. But again, I didn't stutter every word. So it's not like it was like,
right,
black and white like that. But it's like, hey, I'm stuttering much less. Like what's going on? And then I started doing things over the next couple of days, like where I definitely would have stuttered. I was like, well, but I'm not stuttering now. I used to practice with Rabbi Wakshel from the Mir. And he knew that stuttering was very hard for me. And he told me, okay, I know you're creative. You're always trying different things for your stuttering. I was almost in Shidduchim. So he offered to help me. Even when I got married, he's like, if you need someone to practice with, you can.
So this was an exercise that you did, an exercise, writing stuff down, saying certain things, just like
experiments. Really take it so
own little.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt for two people who stutter to experiment something. Why not? And nothing else to do with the guy.
Yeah.
So I went over to Rabbi Wakshel when I realized, like I'm not really studying anymore. I want to tell him the good news. Like, Rabbi, we're not enough to practice anymore. Yeah. The therapy that we used to, try, whatever, wasn't really getting anywhere. Yeah. So I wanted to tell him, Rabbi, then, what just happened? I tried to help someone else. So I went over to him, and with him, I would stutter more because he was a very chashuv yid, and I would stutter more. I had that respect. And after 9 seconds, we talking, Rabbi, I want to tell Rabbi what happened last night. I met someone, and he's like, Yanky, before you tell me what happened with the guy, tell me what happened with your speech. You're not stuttering now. I said, no, that's what I'm saying. No, before you're saying what you're saying, tell me what happened with the speech. I want to know. You sound amazing. And anyway, he was jumping for joy. Wow. He's one of those rebbeim that really, your simcha, his simcha. He was like, wow, he was blown away.
Remember that day?
And I remember that day. Him leaning over like, Yanky, what? He was like in shock. Wow. And but the real aha moment was when I was put under the most pressure. What could have been the worst situation ended up being the best. And to make a long story short, I was in a shul, and the Rebbe was very friendly, and I was totally unexpected. And in the middle of his drasha, he turns to me and says, hey, what's your name? He was just trying to be friendly, Yeah. And I'm like, wait a second, what, for real? Like, my name? Out of everything that I told you, the whole shmooze, like my name, like now in the middle of your drasha? I was like, what am I going to do now? Wait, let me try this. I was just doing something just a day or two ago.
Right.
Pulled it out, and it worked. He says, oh, very nice. I said, Yanky Kaufman. He said, oh, very nice. Where are you from? Wait a second. I don't know if it's going to work every time, I said, Sanhedrin Mechavet. He said, no, where are you originally from? I say, Muncie, 3 for 3. 3 of what could have been the worst.
Yeah.
Smooth. I walked out of there feeling I'm onto something. When I came home and I told my wife what happened, I was like, you realize that we got this. It's over. It's almost like waking up one day and feeling like you have wings. You feel like, okay, nice. You understand. You don't have to get into the car anymore. You could just fly. You have wings. That's what I was like. I could talk. I could just say. The whole game is over.
You're free now.
Switching and avoiding. Just say what I want to say, and it's easy. And so the whole Shabbos we were like trying to dissect, like what am I doing? Can I make it even better? I don't stop just because I have something good. Let's make it even better.
Of course.
But can we make it longer and better? Can we make it shorter and better? That Matzah Shabbos, I took it a phone book. And I said, maybe this is going to help other people. Worth a try. I'll do it for free. So I took it a phone book and called up all the famous people, that of the Americans that I knew of. And I said, told them my 30-second elevator pitch. If you know anyone who stutters, I used to stutter, and it's for free. And that's when it started. I started to sing people one after the next. People started coming. And I realized like a lot of these people had the same journey as me. Yeah, they went to this one and to that one and to that one. Like, really? I thought I was the only one. No, and they're stuttering and for a long time, and it's working. And then, organically, the success just started coming, and that's really how it started. Just people knowing me, saying it's worth a shot, and then the success of the first few people that I've seen, every single one of them, the word got out there very, very quickly. Pun intended, the word got out there.
Very quickly. That's an amazing, amazing story. I would like to put myself and you into the shoes of a person who stutters, maybe a young person, maybe a young adult, and even a middle-aged person. I want to understand how a life, walk me through a day of a life, a person who has a stutter.
So it could happen at different stages in a person's life. But we'll
Okay.
start with the typical at a younger age. They don't necessarily chap that they stutter after they're already stuttering. It's a process for them to see, hey, I talk differently. I can't just say what I want to say. There's something different about my speech. It's not working so well. And if it's a heavier stutter, then you get that message from the looks of other people, like, wait, what's going on? And then you get the strong impression, wait, there's something different over here also. But you don't really know what's going on. Like, I am talking, and slowly but surely, things start to snowball that you realize there's a struggle over here. I can't talk. And it's something very basic, because speech is something so pervasive.
Sure.
And it's especially in a yid's life.
Yeah.
We're very social.
Yeah.
And you want to say important things, and that's our koyach. Our koyach is with our speech. And when someone's lacking that, then it gets very complicated. It's a very big struggle.
Now, what you're saying is that they're comparing themselves to others. Little kids will see in class that other kids are like jumping up and saying, they're answering what the Rabbi is asking or whatever the case is in school, and they're like, I have a hard time getting this out.
Yeah, speech is a very basic quality for a human being.
And
If everybody would stutter, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it would still be a struggle.
Right.
But most people don't stutter.
What kind of impact does that have on a little child?
So it evolves slowly, I would say. Starts with when they start to realize that, hey, it's hard for me to talk. So then the knee-jerk reaction is to just avoid the hard words. So we switch. And then it becomes a constant game. Wait, what's the easier way to say this? Sometimes it could be very smooth to transition to a different word, to switch. Sometimes it could be a little bit awkward. Like, we may try to beat around the bush. Wait a second. Is that how the expression goes? Beat around the tree, right?
Right.
No, but tree was hard for me to say, so I said beat around the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Especially sometimes you want to get to the, this is for illustrative purposes, you want to get to the, everyone's watching, what do you want to say? You want to get to the punchline. And you got to like switch to, you want to get to the, and what's the different word for the punchline? And sometimes you just stop and it just gets awkward.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that could happen also, so then you wait a second. It's a big struggle. I may stutter. I may switch. And it's like a juggling act. So maybe I should just avoid it. So just won't talk. Now, of course, but I'm a normal guy. I want to have friends.
Of course.
Okay, but then it comes to, do I really have to say it? Or is it better not to? Then the last step is to avoid the situation altogether. So I won't go away for Shabbos. Because it's just going to be a lot of people around. I just won't go. And this really takes over a whole person's life. It's what they say. So to summarize, there's 4 challenges. With the actual stutter, what they switch,
Yeah.
what they hold back from, and what they avoid. And this happens even with a slight stutter. Obviously, there's different levels of a slight stutter, but even with a slight stutter, this could happen day in, day out. And it gets even more complex because you don't know exactly when it's coming. So if it only happens in the morning. Okay, so then you may just not talk in the morning.
Right.
You're not available. And then the rest of the day is fine.
Hmm.
But it could happen in the morning, could happen afternoon, could happen at evening. Could be having a great day. Today's great speech day. Chavrusa, smooth, on the phone is smooth, and then all of a sudden you walk in the street and someone asks you for directions, and for whatever reason, this is a different situation, and you just start stuttering, and you were having a great day. Well, what did you do wrong? You were just walking down the street, and all of a sudden you start stuttering. And you don't know to what extent you're going to stutter. Is it going to be a slight stutter? Well, if there's potential for a person who has a moderate or heavy stutter, it could be much worse. It could be much more intense. So you don't know. It's unpredictable. So you're basically constantly on eggshells. And this happens not just once a week. This happens day in, day out, and it could be for years. So we're talking about a very, very serious issue. And obviously, it could affect the person in a major way. And what's tricky about it, like I'm putting everything on the table over here.
Yeah.
But unless you heard this, people who don't stutter look at it like, I never thought about this. I thought it was just speech, like a little. Yeah. This is very different than other speech issues. This is much more complex, and it affects the person much more.
Right. Now, what does it do to the child's self-esteem?
So there's all different types of people, obviously, but I would say for most people, it's confusing. Before self-esteem, it's confusing. And because they feel not as capable, obviously this can affect the person's self-esteem. Not only that, but the things that can build a person's self-esteem, they don't have access to that.
Correct.
So that's what you said before, calling a middle of class. So I'll tell you, like, what's worse than not knowing the answer? Knowing the answer and you can't say it. Now, I'm not saying I was always that guy who knew all the answers, but sometimes it did.
Right.
But I couldn't say it. So I just pretended I was like most other people that didn't know the answer.
That is pain. You're describing pain. And from talking about kids and becoming bar mitzvah, being called up to the Torah, and all these, like, we don't chap how many times we just, we insult people very easily. With the mouths. We use our mouths like it's a big joke. All of a sudden, it's like, whoa. I mean, this person has the difficulties of a head. All these places, if kids want to sing, it's like, you think about it, it's just
Speaking about thinking about it, it's not just that we think about it, about the person who stutters when they're getting the aliyah. No. This has been going on in their mind weeks or months before. My offer is coming up. Wait a second. You know what that means? Wait, that means the week before, my chassan, on Shabbos, then I'm getting an aliyah. Wait a second. And so normally I try to figure out a way how not to get an aliyah. Right. If I have an inkling, then I may get an aliyah. But here, like, what am I going to do? I mean, it's what are my options? I mean, it is my offer. I am getting an aliyah. It's not like my minig is not to get an aliyah. I'll tell you one funny story, just how people try to avoid these types of things. Yeah. So I'm sure people can imagine all different simple ways of avoiding aliyahs, going to the back, going to the bathroom. Okay, these are the simple ones. I'll tell you something a little more creative, because that's also the mindset of people in the life, of people who stutter. We can become very creative. In general, I would say, people who have become very desperate. I think I heard the sprach, it's a famous sprach maybe, being desperate is the mother of creativity. And so one guy thought of an idea. He said he had an inkling that this Yom Tov, this is his Yom Tov, meaning he's going to get this aliyah.
Correct.
And so what's his way out? And he was tired. I'm not going to the back. Maybe he wants to sleep late the night before. He's not interested in getting up and walking to the back and playing the whole game. So they sold the aliyahs. So he bought out all the aliyahs. And he was sure this Yom Tov, not getting an aliyah.
Wow. That is next level. That is next level. It's creative, and you can feel a fear that person has. They will pay money, not to get there. Not the shame is so bad that he will do anything in the world not to get to that place.
Yeah, and it's not really understood by most people. So, and nobody even knew that he was doing this.
Right.
He probably didn't even tell his wife. He told it to me.
Yeah,
but most people don't really get it, what's going on in the life.
The person's head.
It's because it gets compounded. And for people who don't stutter, it's like, All these things we take for granted.
Right.
I'll give you another example. Like, you want to talk to someone on the phone. People who stutter, it's like a whole cheshbon. Like, wait a second, I usually get stuck on my name. A lot of times the simple things are hardest. And so how do I deal with this? Like, for some reason, it's always the same thing. You always have to say your name. Like, wouldn't it be better if it was like a different way of introducing yourself? Like, people should ask me, hey, like, I wish people would have asked me, like, hey, Yanky, what's your favorite color? I usually don't get stuck on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Blue? That's the easy one for me to say. Instead, they always ask me the hard things like, what's your name? Which Masechta are you learning? Which yeshiva are you in? Which camp are you in? All the hardest things. But when it comes to, let's say, making phone calls, so you could, you're waiting to get on the line with, let's say, a busy company, and you're waiting and waiting, waiting. You can wait 5-10 minutes. Now, this is annoying for a lot of people. People can relate to that. But what happens when they finally pick up and they say, yes, hello, who's this? Hey, wait a second. No. That's not the time to stutter, right? But that sometimes is when a person will stutter because it's under pressure. I have to say now, but wait, I don't want the person to hang up. And then you know what happens? The 2.5 rule. If you don't say anything, they start yelling at you. Hello? As if they were waiting 10 minutes to, and then you have another half a second. And if it doesn't go, they just hang up. Does anybody know about this challenge?
Wow.
Nobody knows. Only people who stutter know this.
Wow. But let me ask you a funny question. Why is the name that is like supposed to be the easiest, that's where you stutter, and coming outside the box, another one would be easier to say. Right. Why is that?
So I don't think it's anything specific about a person's name that is hardest. I think the fact that everyone stutters, that most people stutter on their name, obviously it has to do with the fact that it's their name, not the sounds per se, right? So why is the name harder? Because if I know that I could stutter, so now there's more pressure over here because I know that you know that I know my name. So it's time to say it. So let's go. What's your name?
So
now I have that pressure.
Kicks in.
Now, once it happens a few times, wait a second, I know I may stutter on this, right? Because I did stutter in the past.
Right.
So now it becomes complicated. Wait, I hope they're not going to ask me my name. And guess what happens? The first thing out of their mouth is, it's like almost like we wish they could read our mind, like, don't ask me my name, you know?
Wow. Now, let me ask you about social anxiety, because you were saying before, there are regular people who don't stutter, and they have social anxiety, and they would run out before an aliyah also. So is it related? Is it a social anxiety? You think that the stuttering, or there's two different things?
Right. It definitely looks like there's a lot of correlation. I'm not a social anxiety expert, but it definitely, if there's one other aspect in the DSM that's probably related, I would say it's at least in a major part this has to do. Now, it's hard to know which one came first because could be not all stuttering is based on social anxiety, right? But because we stutter and it could get difficult, so then we could have anxiety or a level of it socializing with other people. So then we can also avoid. But social anxiety could be, it's not necessarily as a physical thing happening, right? It's more in their mind. With stuttering, it's not just in their mind. We could actually stutter.
Can't say the word out from your mouth. Now, stuttering is in the DSM? Is it an official?
Stuttering is in the DSM.
Wow. So what is it characterized?
Mental health. Well, it used to be called stuttering, but somebody explained to me how the DSM works, that they always have to change things because that's how they make the big bucks. So at least in stuttering, we see how that played a role. Now it's called you thought there was such a thing as stuttering? No. All the organizations for stuttering pretty much are called stuttering, but in the DSM, they have a new. Now, I don't think this indicates a breakthrough in understanding stuttering, but here's what they call it now. There's two different types of diagnosis: childhood onset fluency disorder. Stuttering was too simple, right? Or adult onset fluency disorder.
Okay, that's what they came up with.
Okay,
I got you. So my question is, as you remember stuttering from when you were young?
As far back as I can
As
remember.
You remember till you were like 26 years old, right?
I was 26.
But how did that, what identity did that give you as a child? Were you the stutterer kid? I mean,
how I identified myself?
Yeah, I mean, or other people identified you.
So other people, I was a regular boy.
Mm-hmm.
So I had friends. I excelled in certain areas, but I was like a regular guy. So I wasn't like this, oh, I know a Kaufman stutters because of X, Y, and Z. No,
Right.
it's just, I was like everyone else pretty much, right? And I stuttered.
Right.
So that's how they looked at me. Now, obviously, in general, the more comfortable you are with a person, it's not always like this, then the less you stutter. So my
Mm-hmm.
friends probably remembered me when they first met me as, oh yeah, Kaufman stutters. But after a while, if I was good at basketball, then who cares if he stutters?
Right.
We're going to play basketball with Kaufman.
Right.
So that's basically, I mean, I don't know how other people look at me, but I would
Right.
imagine that's how people
Right.
looked at me.
Right. Right.
I kind of did ask friends, after I stopped stuttering, what did you
What was
tell
you
me the truth
thinking?
now?
Yeah.
I'm past it.
Yeah.
No, what do you think?
Right.
But how I identified myself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fast forward.
Yeah.
I'll answer this with a conversation I had with what's the famous psychologist from YU, professor, Doctor
Mm-hmm.
Pelkowitz.
Pelkowitz, yeah.
Dr. Pelkowitz,
From
okay.
OL, yeah.
From OHL, okay. So I asked him how to do, he's a professor, he also does research. I asked him how to do research for my stuttering program. There's not any research out there, we could speak about it later, about significant success for stuttering. If I have that, how do I prove that? So
Right.
it's not really his field, but I discussed it with him.
Right.
So I was sitting down with him, and he saw like I was very passionate about this. He said, Yanky, at the end of the conversation, he's like, Yanky, you're going to be very successful in this. I said, what is it, Dr. Buckwitz? How do you know? I didn't tell you what I do. How do you know that? He says, listen, I have a lot of experience, and I see you're just crazy about this.
Right.
I said, Dr. Buckwitz, we just met for 20 minutes. You diagnosed me. You're a little bit off. I'm not crazy about this. I'm craziest about this. I want to tell you how crazy I am. So now going back to your question, how did I identify myself?
Mm-hmm.
When I stuttered, I identified myself as somebody would say, what's your name? I'm the stuttering guy.
Mm-hmm.
And my name is Yanky Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's what always was in my mind when somebody asked me my name. Oh, wait, I'm going to stutter now. Or I'm probably going to stutter now. When I stopped stuttering, I still have the same identity.
Wow.
I'm the stuttering guy. Or maybe I'm the fluency guy. And my name is Yanky Kaufman.
Wow. Wow. That's passion. And it's you did something, you took something that was a obstacle in your life, and you made it a stepping stone, and that is something to something to look up to. So, what was the mind shift in your head, in your mind, that changed everything? When did you decide enough is enough?
So when did I decide enough is enough? From the day I realized I was stuttering. This is enough is enough.
Wow.
And that led me to a lot of speech therapy. I gotta figure this out. Can somebody help me? So, like anyone else would, you go to a speech therapist. First you try local.
Right.
Someone who takes your insurance for state
Right.
And then you realize like these are just regular speech therapists. They don't really know too much about stuttering, but they could try. Anybody could try, right? Especially licensed people can try, they know something about it. So it was an experiment, try this, do that. And, after a few years of going to therapists, this is what my parents tell me, sent me to therapy. Then we had home therapy for a couple of years and we weren't getting anywhere. So they said, okay, let's take a little break. My bar mitzvah was coming up and it was going to be a desperate situation. I mean, the only thing I remember by my bar mitzvah was speaking there or lack of speaking over there. And I went to big specialist after that, not just speech therapist, stuttering specialist, but make a long story short, I'm not going to go. I went to therapy for around 15 years for my stuttering because, like I said, enough was enough from day one. But that was part of the challenge. Like, the truth is, fast forward, this field is very stale. There's nothing new out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I spoke to the biggest researchers. You have anything new? The last 15, 20 years?
Right.
Anything? There's nothing new in this field.
What you're saying is you just have to find the right mechanism, but
So yeah, I'm saying, you could get,
And
basically
every
you could
person-
get lucky.
yeah,
If they had a real way, then say it.
Right.
They don't have a real way.
Wow.
So, yeah, you could get lucky. Obviously, people have gotten help. I personally, when I was stuttering, I never met anybody who used to stutter and stop stuttering. I haven't met anyone. And, people tell you, well, try this, do that. And everyone has their little way of explaining it. Stuttering is because I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to, but everyone has their way of explaining. Stuttering is because of this and because of that. It's the throat, it's in the something. What I'm not going to go psychological. Maybe there was some type of trauma. I'm not going to go through all the different things. But at the bottom line is that I don't see it working. I don't see it working. And I'm basically convinced by them that something's supposed to be happening. But I remember one therapist told me, like, it's supposed to take, a while. I'm not going to keep it vague. It's supposed to take a long time until the therapy kicks in, but in mamish works. Okay, so, I keep on going on. I felt I was going on for a ride. Like, I'm not getting anywhere. Nothing. If I would see 20% better, I say, hey, there's something to this.
Right.
But all the therapy that I've went to, I never got anywhere. I would say it didn't help me for one word in real life. And I was very motivated.
Right.
And, unfortunately, the field is very stale. People can spin things that, we have something new or have a special way, but what they're doing, I verified this after speaking to not just one or two people, from dozens of different types of people like this, what they're actually doing is the same. So, in fact, it's very interesting. The field right now, in general, in the field of stuttering, the culture out there is not about techniques for fluency. It started with that, and then they saw over time, people have a hard time admitting it, but over time, they were like forced to admit from people saying like, we're not getting help, that, wait, it's not really working. So what did they say? Wait, let's be more comfortable, be happier, not be happier. Don't make such a big deal of stuttering. And hopefully because of that, you'll stutter less.
Mm-hmm.
So they were hoping, you'll stutter less, and like maybe you even won't stutter at all. But then they saw that's not either working. They're not making that breakthrough to make people so happy who stutter. And it's like a catch-22. Yeah, I should be more relaxed, but I stutter. So you don't have a special way of making me more relaxed. So, some people give up fast, so it's easier to talk to that. I was never like that. I was not going to be convinced that, it's okay to stutter. And I mean, just to say one more step, it was also like, it's okay to stutter. Then they realized that bottom line is that's not either working. People are still frustrated because they're hoping, so I'll do this and then I'll get fluent, but that's not really happening.
Mm-hmm.
So then they came up now, what's going on now is it's okay to stutter. No, not it's okay so that you won't stutter. It's okay to stutter, period. That's why you have, different people promoting. You have phrases like happy to, I'm not going to go through anything specific, but like being proud of stuttering.
Right. So
like you're more authentic if you stutter.
So you're looking at it like it's not a curse. You're embracing it.
Embracing it, right. So that never spoke to me. I'll tell you why. Not just me, but nobody stutters every word. Every single word? No.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when people speak by themselves, they don't stutter. There might be exceptions, but basically, we don't stutter when we speak by ourselves. Mm-hmm. So what's going on? I'm talking, right? Now I'm talking with you. Imagine if you weren't in this, if I can say, beautiful, really beautiful, one of the nicest, probably the nicest podcast room I was ever in. But if you're not in the room, I'm talking to myself, what am I doing? I'm doing the same thing. Right? I could tell myself, express yourself how you feel about whatever the question is. Right. So what happens when you come in the room? I'm doing the same thing as far as my speech is concerned.
Right.
So that means there's got to be a way for me to not stutter. Not only that, but even with other people, I don't stutter every word. Right. So that means there's got to be a way that I don't have to stutter. So that's what I always believed in.
Wow.
So just the therapists haven't figured it out. So you can't say there is no way. In fact, that's something that the therapists are hiding behind. They defend themselves by saying, well, there is no cure, but that's not science. That's just a belief system. What I'm saying is that people who study themselves know there's got to be a way. You just haven't figured it out.
Does that fall into the category, you gotta want it?
No, I don't think so.
Right?
I don't think they just, no, you need a skill.
You need a skill. If you teach them a skill, then you will do it. You had the roots. You had the roots because you started teaching about it.
I had the roots in that I didn't want to stutter, but that didn't make me not stutter.
Correct.
Because speak about it, what happened, but it wasn't just from my saying, I really don't want to stutter.
Right. But would you say that the force behind this, what you're displaying here, this bulldozer type of, I'm not giving up, This the parents? Your parents were behind because this started out when you were a child. You're saying you spent 15 years in therapy.
Hard to know. I don't know if it's nature, nurture,
or it's your
I
own.
don't know.
Your own.
My grandparents were in the Holocaust, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. Could be it's in the blood, but definitely, I would say I have this not just in stuttering. A lot of things. I am very. I'm a strong-willed person.
Excellent. This is a good trait to have. Do you remember a time that you actually held back to say something that you wanted to because of shame and fear?
Oh, all the time. I'm not going to get
examples. In all these years that you remember yourself, you remember 100% that you made a left instead of a right just because.
On a daily basis.
Wow.
That's why when I used to daven, it wasn't just 3 times a day that I would daven, Hashem, please help me with stuttering, like in Rafeinu, Beshmanasi. No, this could happen 10 times a day. For example, I'm going to Chasana. So, of course, I want to wish Mazel Tov to the Chasana, right? Just like everyone else, right? That's a nice thing. He's a friend of mine. You know what happened last time? I went to wish Mazel Tov, and it was like very awkward. Like, people are trying to squeeze their hands in. And like, sometimes people, we can speak about it like different habits that come along with stuttering. So one of these secondary behaviors, like people can close their eyes, a little twitch, a little jerking with the head. So like that could happen, obviously, to wish Mazel Tov, and you got to get it in, and other people, it's got to be like with a geschmack, this, oh, Mazel Tov.
Yeah.
And then like, it doesn't really coincide with like my like very possible stuttering moment with that whole warm Mazel Tov.
Yeah.
And like, especially when your hand is supposed to come out at the right time, right? Everyone understands that, right? But when you're stuttering, it's like sometimes you be a little bit off. So it's like, wait, I don't know exactly. You got to stick your hand in basically when the Mazel Tov is about to come out, right? But if you don't know when the Mazel Tov is going to get, I think you get the vibe. Like it's a little bit uncomfortable. And then what happens if that actually happens? So then the next time you go to Chasana, you daven, and I would, that Hashem, please help me, that it should just, everything should just work okay.
Yeah.
And this would happen not just at Chasanas. This could happen on a daily basis. A newsman starts. I want to get a good chavrusa.
Right.
So so after a few days, it'll probably be better. That's basically how it always goes. But is he going to drop me after the first couple of days? Is he going to give me a chance or not?
Wow. The real struggle you're talking about. The struggle is real.
I want to speak about this. I want to bring out one more point over here about the struggle. What's real and what's unique about stuttering. So there's a famous sprach from Michael Jordan, the best basketball player. The Olam knows Michal Yardin, yeah? So there's a famous sprach he said. I don't follow him, but this is what when I did my research on this, bringing out the challenge of stuttering, this came up. So he says, famous line. I don't know exactly I can't say verbatim, but basically, I missed 9,602 shots in my career.
Right.
I was entrusted with the last shot in the game, and I missed 56 times. And this type of thing. And I failed, and I failed again. And he ends with the punchline, and that's why I succeed.
Wow.
So in a paradigm, this means like, wow, you really struggle, and because of the struggle, that's how you get to the top.
How you get to the top.
That sounds very nice, but not when it comes to stuttering. Because you fail, and you can fail. Not just, what did I say, 963 times? No. 100,000, 500,000 times, and end up in the same place with your nice, big, heavy stutter. That's what's unique about stuttering. It's so common. This is not a struggle. I have a hard time falling asleep. How often does that happen? If it lets just to bring it out, that happens once a day. It's Hashem. I have a very easy time falling asleep. Sad Shemaya. But because then that could be a challenge. But it's once a day. What about speech? It could happen 1,000 times plus in one day.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And there's no breaks.
What I'm hearing you saying is that you're not focusing that much if you're born with it. What the reason for it is. You're focusing on the fact we have it, and we need a solution, and we need to fix it. It really doesn't matter where it comes from, if it's the genes or if it's not the genes. That's not your. You're saying what's next is what you're asking. We have it, we need to fix it, and we're trying to come up with some solution to make this thing work, to save your life. practically.
So I'll tell you why that's my approach. Because once a person is stuttering for a while, stuttering takes over the show. So let's say it could be that a person, let's say from it's called, there's 3 diagnostics for stuttering. There's developmental, psychogenic, and neurogenic. So developmental, they're learning their speech basically at a younger age. Psychogenic could be from, let's say, an emotional trauma. Okay. By the way, I think they took this out of the DSM because they don't like. I'll go on a tangent for a second. It's part of the whole mindset, I call it the psychology of the field of, wait a second, we don't really have a solution for this. So if we say it's psychological, then we're getting ourselves in trouble because, that's a very developed field and we have solutions for people's psychological issues and we can expect results.
Wow.
So we don't want to say that because we can't explain that. And if we give the impression that it's connected to psychology, then there should be a real solution. So that's why one of the things is that, but there's no denying that people started stuttering after trauma or developmental trauma, which means after stages, not to say one incident. So anyways, getting back, but this was in there for a long time. I don't think they got any smarter in the field. So I'm going to say it like what it used to be. And then the neurogenic. So you could have come out from a trauma. And if you can nip it in the bud and say, okay, there was a trauma here, some type of insecurity happened, and it's affecting the speech. If you could quickly, again, this is also partial itself, we'll call it, I don't know exactly what the expression is, to fix, to heal the trauma, then there's a good chance that the stuttering will go away. But once it's going on like this for a few months, for sure, for a few years, then stuttering has a mind of its own. It's like a fire. People like to say, my mahalach is I like to get to the source.
Right.
Okay, that sounds very nice. When it comes to fire, if you take out the source, the original match, after it was lit to the woods for a few days, it's gone. You pick up, I found it. You're not going to get anywhere. So if you extinguish it right away, then you saved it. So with stuttering, you take care of it right away, fine, you could save it. But once it's going on for a while, even, I've been sent from psychologists, many of their clients, and they felt that they diagnosed their clients that they are past their trauma, or whatever it was.
Right.
But they're still stuttering.
Now what?
Now what? So now, it could be that they are past that. And usually, if you ask people who stutter, how did it come? Okay, if they know, let's see if this one of the type of situations, they could tell you that the challenge, what they want help for now, is not why it originally came. They got bullied in camp. They're past it. It's the stuttering. Now it's the stuttering. That's the story. So the bottom line is, when you're dealing with somebody stuttering for a while, the issue now is stuttering.
Right. I understand. I understand what you're saying. Does it have anything to do with mind racing, which means your mind races faster than the words that has to come out?
I think it does.
Everything helps a little bit.
Well, in a nutshell, basically, anything that has to do with speech can bring out stuttering. So what has to do with speech? So to simplify things, you have your mind, right? That has to do with speech.
Right.
We'll call it the cognition, the emotions, and the speech mechanism.
Right.
So really anything that could get this system off track can bring out a stutter.
I got you. Before you mentioned slight stutter and severe stutter.
Yeah.
Is your recommendation that if a person who has a slight stutter should come and fix this ASAP because it's going to get worse? Or is it get away with it?
So essentially, when I just started, most people who came to me, I would say, was moderate or heavy stuttering. After a few years, I guess people started to catch up, like, hey, this looks like there's a real solution.
Right.
And maybe people saw my ads, like there's always new things. I'm flying out. I'm training more therapists, more endorsements.
Right.
Like, hey, there's a way to fix it. Even a slight stutter, like I described, could be a very big struggle. So they start to wake up like, wait, I should get on board with this also and see if there's a way to fix myself. So I would say at least half the people who come now are people with a slight stutter. But now the question is, who should come? So it doesn't go by slight or heavy. It should go by, the way I see it, is if it's important to you. So could it be that someone with a very slight stutter, this is very important to them? Absolutely.
Right.
Could it be that someone who has a heavy stutter, but, a little bit, has other things going on in his life,
He's not the salesman type.
Sales,
He doesn't need it.
whatever. I'm not going to describe different
Yeah.
reasons. This obviously you could figure out a lot of different reasons why
Right.
people. You could ask this in any field why someone who
Right.
has a serious issue doesn't
Right.
take care of it. There's
Right.
a lot of different reasons.
Right.
Again, it could be a positive reason, like again, like he has a lot of other positive things in his life, so he's focusing on that. Which I think is a very good idea. For someone who stutters, I'm not saying it's going to take care of the stuttering, but stuttering can play front and center of a person's life. If a person can make a list, write down himself, of the other qualities or the good things in his life, then that will shift a little bit off of, hey, but I'm stuttering, to, but I have a lot of other great things going on in my life. So, a person may have them, but unless it's highlighted, then a person may shift into stuttering and make that the highlight because it's such a common struggle.
Yeah. Now, as far as men versus women, boys versus girls, is it 50-50, or is you see a difference?
All right, we're going to pick on the men over here. How about that?
You think it's
so the Welt says that it's 4-to-1 ratio for men.
Wow.
From my experience, that's very old research. I read the latest. I'm always looking for the latest on stuttering. And so in the latest book, they have the research. Like, the truth is that it's a lot to do with the environment. So different countries will have different percentages of, in general, how many people stutter in the country. But it's a lot more than people think.
But this is a worldwide thing. Every country. This doesn't discriminate, correct?
Yeah. Anyone who I meet that, I'm very secluded in the Jewish world, but and it's busy enough, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
But anyone who I meet a taxi driver, and this, I'll ask them. By the way, people. I had this question, so I interview people.
Right.
You know anyone who stutters in your country? Yeah, sure. But getting back to the ratio, from my experience, and I have male and female speech therapists working in my practice, so we cater to everyone. It's more like 10-to-1 ratio.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
I'll tell you an interesting remez to this.
Yeah.
The Gemara says that Tisha B'Av came to the world. And 9 the women took and 1 the men took. I say that's a good ratio. Women have the power of speech. They have that koyach.
That is powerful stuff. I like it.
In general, I spoke to a researcher once, I think that, the women develop speech faster at a younger age also.
Wow, that is interesting stuff. I know, as much as I know, I don't know much, but is there sometimes the stuttering gets into affects you to a point that you can't get a word out, which means you get so, either in public or between a few people, you gather the courage to say something, and this will just make you silent?
So when a person stutters for, let's say, 3 seconds, it feels like 3 minutes.
Right.
But there are people who stutter for 30 seconds. And even if it's not all the time, but they can stutter at times, like a really hard moment. I could vividly remember, like, one of my longest stutters. I was in the bungalow and somebody asked me my name. Like, I even wanted to, like, ask him if he wants to go out with my sister. It's like, there was a lot going on in my mind. Like, am I going to say something? Am I not? It turns out the guy was married anyway. His wife was walking right next to him. But I didn't, so awkward situation.
Yeah.
And I was stuttering so much then. Like, that was one of the worst. I was turning colors. But some people could stutter, so for 5 minutes. I remember I went to someone once. And he told me, like, tried to give me a different perspective on my stuttering. He's like, stuttering is just a matter of time. Interesting perspective. I didn't think of it like that. So I was like, it's just a matter of time. Okay. So that lasted, that chizuk I got lasted till the next bout of stuttering. I was like, well, whatever you want to call it, this is not geschmack. But I passed this on to other people. What do you think about stuttering? It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So some people who started told me, no, not just a matter of time. I think if I would still be trying to say what I want to say, last year, I think I would still be there.
Wow.
I gave up. It's not coming out.
Wow. What message would you want to give to the school system, boys and girls? They deal with this every day, and they can lift somebody up. They can if they can neglect somebody, or about what did they tell the other students? How
That's a
to
very
be
good question.
sensitive.
I think they should be asking this question more because the schools deal with a lot of things,
Of
and
course.
stuttering is very important. But it seems to me like it's one of those things that like it's just under the radar.
Yeah.
Like what's most important. Like of course the boy has a very heavy stutter. Well, that's like how are we going to deal with this? I mean, I have people who are not accepted in schools.
Right.
Some people like when they hear that what somebody came to you after not accepted in any school because of the stuttering. It's not fear. They love the boy, but Pashat, then he's not going to get chavrusas. We can't have this boy over here. He's not going to participate. We see the way it's not so simple. But what can parents? What can the teachers do?
Yeah.
So it's really a loaded question. I have spoken at the Term Sarah convention from a Chanechem. It's the first time they ever had anyone speak about stuttering. I hope to be speaking there again.
Yeah.
I've spoken to other. It's a whole talk for itself. And a lot of times they don't even know what stuttering is. So they look like, oh, he's just a quiet boy in the back, doesn't have much to say, and really the guy has a lot to say.
But even if they have to put themselves in the shoes of these children, because what you were describing before is excruciating. These children. I mean, I don't know if you have to be more sensitive and not ask from these kids certain things to step up in public, or sensitivity.
Right. So I say the most powerful thing I could say, to the point, is that they should try to find ways to not put their speech in the spotlight.
Right.
Asking them to read or calling out exact things, be more sensitive. Most people who stutter, it's a sensitive situation, and therefore don't find other ways. Go out of just one trick is that it's much easier to ask yes or no questions. In general, people don't stutter on yes or no, and besides, you could always just nod your head or go or
Right.
So that's always the much easier way.
So they need to know this. It's important for them to know those things.
I have a lot of different things that they need to know. I'll just say one more, like just eye-opening. The system is that if you need the bathroom, you raise your hand. What do you want? The bathroom, right? But some people stutter. They'll be afraid. Like, yes, what do you want? And I'm like, when you were raising your hand, you probably want something.
Right.
So. Might not be coming out that I could just say, can I have the bathroom? So we should have like one of those tricks, like raise 2 fingers if it's for the bathroom. That's it. You just solve the problem.
Simple
Easy
solution. Yeah. Now, what about them teaching the children about bullying or also about if this is not a subject, and in the meantime, this can have severe effects on the child's mental health.
So these are loaded topics, bullying and teachers do have a limited effect. But I would say that the good news is that for most people that I interviewed, Baruch Hashem, stuttering is something that people in general are sensitive about. And therefore, it's not such a thing that, obviously it can happen. And maybe we hear those stories, a person was bullied and nebach and made fun of, and I don't know, doesn't want to go back to school, but whatever it is, but it usually doesn't happen. That's one of those things that somehow people understand that this is sensitive, and Baruch Hashem, it's not so common. But when it does happen, they have to, that definitely has to be addressed, but it's a bigger thing. But one of the, again, simple eitzes is like, if a person is stronger physically, then they're less of a target.
Right.
So like for myself, I used to work out a lot. And I used to take karate and do all different types of stuff. So, people knew
you can handle
you're
yourself.
Not gonna. It's just not if you wanna have your teeth in your mouth. Don't make fun of.
Now, what about?
I can't make you stutter, but I can make you not talk, so to speak.
What about parents? Because here, parents have a crucial role over here. Because, on one hand, they'll have anxiety because my child is stuttering, and they get all nervous about it. They can make the child even more nervous by being nervous, and sometimes they're doing the right thing, which is, what should a parents know? What kind of words do you use? Are you bringing this child down? Are you bringing him up? What kind of advice can you give for a parent to have a balance over this, so the child sees the parent panicking, they'll panic twice.
Yeah. So parents are confused when the child stutters. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
They're also not confused. Is this a stutter? Maybe it's a language. Maybe it's social anxiety. Maybe it's something to do with their blood.
Right.
Let's take a test. Maybe it's some type of trauma happened that in playgroup or in school. Like, what's going on? The first thing, and that's a very difficult situation to be in because you don't even know what direction to turn in.
Right.
Wait, should I go to speech therapist, local, a specialist, do nothing, do something? So there's a lot of questions. Will it go away? If I deal with it, will it make it worse? So unfortunately, parents get swept into things because they're very desperate,
Mm-hmm.
and they could go in any direction, and they're not educated. So this was the drive behind the new seminar that I have, a new organization. It's called Step One Stuttering. I look at it as my chesed project. It's babkas for the seminar, and it gives over from my experience of what parents want to know, what parents have been asking me for the last 10 years. And pretty much I've been doing this all day, every day, except for Shabbos and Yom Tov, what parents want to know and what they should know.
Wow.
And it started with, free advice and a parent calling up 20 minutes, the young child. And then it developed more and more. And now we have an hour and a half of information that parents should be educated and understand this well. And it's short. It's a one-time seminar. I run it like every month or every 6 weeks. Parents join from around the world, and it's education. And it's also what parents can do, because at a younger age, there's more that parents can do than therapists can do, because you're around your child more.
Right.
So you can have more influence. And maybe you're the reason why child's stuttering.
Well,
so the speech therapists can't really help with that.
right.
So bottom line is the parents have more influence on their children, and they should be the one educated. So most speech therapists don't have that approach of like, okay, I'll give what I know to you and you'll take care of it. Or no, you keep coming to me. I'm not like that. I'll teach you everything you need to know, and you'll be the best person to help your child.
Wow.
Now, there's a lot of what parents can do, hands on what parents can do. But just the education alone, it makes parents much more calm. And when the parents are more calm, like I remember a parent telling me the next day, before they even implemented the skills they felt, just after the seminar, the child was speaking better. I was like, what do you attribute that to? He said, well, we didn't even apply any of the skills. We just felt empowered. Like, okay, we understand this. We know what to do, what's going on. We know our options and what's the pros and cons of the different approaches. And we were more common. And it obviously affected the child.
Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff, how important that is. And what is the difference from speech therapy to stuttering? I mean, is there a difference from the two?
So there's a lot that therapists learn in college for speech therapy in general. Definitely the most complex one is stuttering. Hands down. Everybody stutters.
Speech therapy
stuttering is unique.
Speech therapy is
could be for lisp, for
all
language,
these type of things.
cluttering, unclear.
Stuttering is just one part of it.
Right. There's
And
like 8 main topics that they learn. Stuttering is just one. And unfortunately, stuttering is the least developed. And it's important to know this because when people are looking for help for their stuttering, they say, hey, I want to go to a speech therapist. And I see even on the advertisement, look, they specialize in 8 things.
But isn't that where you went all these 15 years?
Well, I went to everyone. Whoever, I mean, first I started with a speech therapist, then I went to stuttering specialist. But even just understanding that there's a very big difference between a speech therapist, especially when they say like they advertise on 10 things and one of them is stuttering. So you feel, oh, I'm going to a stuttering specialist. Look at that. But first of all, besides that, you can't really specialize in 10 things, especially when it comes to stuttering. I'm just doing stuttering. I'm busy enough with just stuttering. So it's important to know that stuttering is a very big specialty.
Wow. This is a funny question. What was the darkest moment in your journey as far as stuttering goes that you remember?
I didn't have one darkest. What pops into my mind, I didn't really think about it so much because it was always just one big struggle. So I didn't have like the darkest moments. Oh, I hit a rock bottom and now I have to fix it. It was always like, wait, I need to fix this. What? Like you mentioned like bar mitzvah. Oof, I still get the chills. Bar mitzvah, yikes. And asking a Rav a question. Or speaking in public. Whoa. This is, And this is part of my passion to help other people because I understand this very well.
Yeah.
I try to treat everyone the same. But yeah, if someone's coming to say the chassan is in 2 weeks or the bar mitzvah is in 2 weeks, I try to bend over backwards as much as I can. Like I know what's about to happen or what could happen and what can be fixed and change everything for the person.
You were mentioning before, you were talking to the Rabbi Shalom. There's times that you were like, Rabbi Shalom, please, I need you. I need this. I need you on my side. How grateful are you now to the Rabbi Shalom? The tremendous gratefulness every morning that you got a life.
Something I look back to whenever I need a chizuk. It's like, remember when you used to stutter? It's like, you remember feeling like if I would stop stuttering, it's just like everything's good. Like just keep remembering that everything's amazing. Like I can talk.
That is one crazy life to live. Every day you got a gift that everyone takes for granted. Everyone should be grateful for that. You would think, people say thank you Hashem and this and that, but you don't have.
It's part of my passion of helping other people. I feel like this is my mission.
Yeah.
So whatever helps me fulfill this mission, this is what I do. And if I can make it better and faster, so I'm going to do it. And I've done a lot of things to develop this field. I'll give an example. Something that really, when I'm going to say it, you're going to be like, "Oh, that's Pasha. That's such a great idea. Why hasn't it been done before?" So, like for example, I have follow-ups. After I teach them the skills, so they're on track. You want to make it a part of them. That's the only way they're going to be successful long term.
Yeah.
So I have former stutterers following up with newer guys.
Why is it? This is a break. This is next level.
Not just that, yeah.
This is like sponsors in Alcoholic Anonymous. Everyone has a sponsor. What you're doing is a very powerful thing. What you're doing is you're getting people who are part of this, and they become your sponsor. They give chizik to each other.
Yeah,
it's an amazing program. And
because I have a lot of these success stories, I can be picky of who I want to train in. So I'll pick, in the beginning it was like the Hasidim with the Hasidim and the Litvish with the Litvish. Because the Maisa, they have a different way of encouraging and giving things over and different languages. And then I have the women with the women. I have the older with the younger. I have all, I could be very specific. And the guy who went to 6 speech therapists before they came, don't worry, I have somebody for you. This guy went to 10. Now you're more receptive to this guy because he's just and you see that they're not just like a little bit better than they used to be, a real role model. Now, Baruch Hashem, I get pickier over time, who are my coaches who really prove themselves. And Baruch Hashem, now, a lot of my coaches now are doing this for like 5-6 years. Yeah. That's one example. Another example is, so I'm always looking to develop it and make it better and faster. So like another thing is, I saw that some people had a harder time making the breakthroughs in their nevers. Like we mentioned a few of them, getting an aliyah, things like that. But you have over here an opportunity. So they don't have, let's say, we'll call it the courage to like get it back up. This is something they promised themselves they'll never speak again in public. So it's almost like a trauma. Like I'm not doing that.
Right.
So what I've done is I've created these skills groups where people come together and apply their skills, not a support group. This is a skills. I have a way of getting better, but I need that group to implement it and to really prove it to myself. So we have everyone get an aliyah. I'll make it as real as possible. Go down to shul.
So you want them to rewire their brain with
go back
the
in
old
there,
way of thinking and start believing that you can do it.
Do you see that you can do it? And if you do it at once, you could do it again.
Right.
Sometimes people come back for a second time and they get even more confident, but they'll have them speak in public. And I've even done Shabbatons. So there are a few days, get it in there, not like in this theoretical island, like we're speaking a little bit funny and it's okay, everyone's being patient. And no, this is for real. This is regular. And I invite people to come, speakers. And, a lot of the people who back my program, like I have a lot of big rabbanim and big psychologists, are the people who I told, come to the group. You'll see for yourself, 12 people. Talk to them. It's very different. Like, you could have like somebody who prepares a speech for 2 months to speak in front of 2 minutes, for 2 minutes in front of a big crowd. Say, wow, that's amazing. But that's a little, it's could be fooling because they prepared for 2 months, those 2 minutes. Right. Here's like regular flowing conversation. the big doctor, the big therapist comes in. Hey, you could question and answer series. Ask doctor whatever you want. It's unprepared,
Right.
and the doctor's gonna ask you, "What's your name?" And it's in a group. It's the real thing.
Right.
So then they feel much more confident. So again, this is something that has not been done in the past, and I know what needs to be done. I'll give an example. Like even in this, I kept on developing it. Like I remember I was driving someone to bring him to the bakery, you know, and he'll introduce himself to and say what he really wants to say and order what he really wants to order, not what's easiest for him to say.
Wow.
On the way, I saw a policeman, you know, on the side of the road, helping with some construction going on. So the cop wasn't doing anything.
Right.
I pulled it right down to there because this is my mindset. Right on the spot, I pulled over right behind the cop, and I said, "Let's get out of the car. Let's schmooze with the cop.
Right.
You know those intimidating guys. You
Yeah.
know he's got a gun on him.
Yeah.
Let's go over to him. Say, hey, you know, this guy happens to be like he flew in from out of the country, so he's like an accent. The cop was asking, hey, what are you doing here? I like the accent. Yeah, talking about England, this, whatever it was, and like all these things, like they see, like I could really do this. I was with this random guy, and I didn't prepare for it. So all these types of things that whatever I can do to give the people the confidence that they can really do it, these are the things I'm implementing.
Wow. Now, it seems like that you went through a lot yourself and you're helping other people. How did it change you as a person, like this experience, like your personality?
Very good question. You know, I like your questions.
Yeah.
I see they're very thought out.
Yeah.
If I may say, go on a
Yeah.
tangent over here. This one I've never been asked before.
Mhm.
So I have to think about this one. But what comes to mind is there's a lot of different aspects. One of them is that I enjoy giving over to the people. And now it's like easy for me.
Mhm.
And I'm very happy that I can take something that was a challenge for me and give that back to other people. And I get more meaning out of like what I went through. And you know, it comes to me like, oh, now I understand why I had to go through that challenge.
Correct.
Oh, I mean, this guy has such a hard time. He just got married and now he has to go to a whole new family and like what's going to be. I was there. I know exactly. We don't even have to discuss it. People don't feel they have to explain things to me. They know. They're sitting in front of me. Within a few minutes, they realize how I'm talking. Like, I understand you.
Right.
So we could jump right into the speech therapy.
Okay.
And they'll be more receptive to listen to what I'm saying because I'm saying this is practical. This is easy. That you can really do this.
Right.
But another thing is this is very interesting. I tell this to my wife. This is what comes to my mind first is that before I stopped stuttering,
Right.
I was doing my own thing. You know, I wasn't into who has money. I didn't care. I didn't care who was famous. I didn't care about this. I just cared about one thing. I just wanted to sit and learn.
Right.
And now that I got into this field, like my eyes are opening. Like I'm getting much more life experience in a way.
Right.
I still love to learn,
Right.
but I'm getting so much life experience of like, and it's easy for me. Like I feel like I'm catching up like so quickly. Whatever I was missing, I'm getting now because I meet all types of, call them rich and famous people because anybody could stutter.
Of course.
That's the Messias. My clientele is the whole world. So I'm seeing people, all different types, Fardi, Hasidish, you know, heavy, you know, Rebbish, everyone.
Yeah.
And it gives me a lot of insight, like different people. And I had even learned different languages. I speak a little bit Persian. I speak a little bit French. I don't know, you know, all different types of people. And I've been flown out all over the world. You know, I didn't want to. I wasn't interested in traveling anywhere. You know, but there are therapists that have organizations that, like I explained, they know they don't really treat stuttering, and they want to help these people. So they've done the research who they should bring in, and Baruch Hashem, I've been flown out all over the world. I've been in Manchester 3 times, London 3 times. I didn't go to see the London Bridge. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still exists,
Yeah.
but I didn't do anything just stuttering. And I've been to Israel, you know, 4 times, and Baruch Hashem, I have more trips scheduled. When I come and I see groups of people. It's one-on-one, and like I remember the first time I was flying out, like I was like, I would have flown to why am I going to London? I don't even know anyone in London. I mean, I heard they're lovely people, but you know, why am I going here? Like, I would have gone here for my own therapy if I would have heard that someone would help me.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going here to help other people. It's like, and then like I get to see what's going on in the world just from my stuttering practice. I get to see what's going on, so like, I feel like I caught up on all these things and I understand what's going on.
What's so amazing about it is that we always hear for people who are going through a hard time, not only in stuttering, throughout their life. And the word is that you will see that eventually this was good. Eventually, this was something that needed to happen, and you will actually take it and make it a stepping stone and do. You're an example of that.
Yeah.
You're an example that you can say to yourself, I had this challenge, and look where I am right now. I'm still in it, and I have no plan of giving it up. So my question is to you: did this experience give you a deeper connection to the Rabbi Shalom?
Could be when I was still stuttering. It was deeper then.
Mm.
Because I had to call out all the time, Hashem, please help me talk.
Unbelievable.
And of course I thank Hashem.
Yeah.
But and maybe it should be 10 times a day, but it's not 10 times a day.
No.
And life is definitely easier. So I have a lot of occurrence to that
Right.
life is so much easier now
Right.
without a stutter.
Right.
But as far as connection to Hashem, it's different because life was a bigger struggle then, but I called out Hashem more, and now life is easier, and I'm thinking Hashem more. It's a different type of connection.
I got one final question for you. What message do you have for a person who is listening to this, a teenager or a parent of a child who stutters?
So if your child is very young, then get educated. See what stuttering is all about. See what stuttering is, what is not. If you should go for therapy, should you not go for therapy? What are the safe ways that a parent can do to help their child? If the person is already older, and basically the less parents can do, the more they can do for themselves, then you want to make sure the person is mature and motivated. This is like learning an instrument, okay? But you only have to play one song.
Yeah.
So it's not so hard. So at least in my program, it's a way that really works, but you have to take it seriously. There's no magic out there, right? And if you are serious and you're going to be consistent, and it's not overwhelming at all, but you're ready to learn that one song, and if that's important to you, then we could show you how to do that very quickly. If you're serious about getting help, don't come because you feel it's important. Only come if you feel it's going to be successful. So if you're ready to do what it takes, and it's very simple, it's very natural, it's time to realize that there's a real way for you. And I think that that's the best chizuk that somebody could get, that you don't have to stutter. Instead of talking about being okay with stuttering, if there's a way to help yourself, then even if you struggled with this in the past, it doesn't take long, but if you're serious, then there's a way to get help.
Very good. Very good. What you displayed today is you modeled for us that you can rewrite the script of life. You can take a struggle and turn it into a strength, which is a beautiful thing. The Rabbi Shalom should help you, that you should be the right shliach to help his children, to help Klal Yisrael, and you should always be matzliach in whatever you do.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank Hashem that I'm in this position. This is something that I feel I haven't worked a day in my life. I love doing this, and however much the struggle was of stuttering, I see the mission this in helping people talk, that whatever they're going to be doing now is going to be so much better, and especially for Yidden, what they're going to use their speech for, in how it can enhance their life. So
saving people's lives, like you just said, that you're helping people daven, you're helping people learn. It's Hashem's work. It's life-saving.
It's every stage, whatever stage they're at, you see how that could enhance. If they're to get into a yeshiva, to get a job, to get a shidduch, to whatever stage it is, it could have major effect on a person's life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.